Okay, so welcome to Kerbal Space Program. You can see that we're starting from the very beginning after the game loads. What we're going to do now is we're going to take you on a rescue mission from start to finish. I already have this set up in my career, and I have several orbiting vehicles that need their astronauts rescued because the other companies in Kerbal Space Program aren't as advanced as the regular space agency seems to be. Now, I have a few pilots. If I have a pilot ready to go, we can go ahead and launch one of these. So let's go see if we got the ship. Now, I already built the ship. I call it I think it's the K7RV. The RV stands for Rescue Vehicle. And you'll see that in a moment. We just have to load it up. Okay, scrolling down. There's K1, K10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. P, which is a passenger ship. PS is passenger with science. And there's our K7RV. You can see it actually doesn't cost us very much money. It's only $25,000. This is a completely stock game, except for 2 mods I loaded, which is, of course, Mech Jeb and Kerbal Alarm Clock. And they come in real handy for a variety of reasons. Now, if we look at this ship, what you'll see is there's 4 solid rocket boosters. Below that is a complete level of solid rocket boosters. There's 5 of those. There's some fins. There's also some RCS. There's 5 parachutes. There's 1 on the nose and then 2 on each one of the capsules. Okay, and thank you. That is the front capsule is the controlling capsule of the ship, and the second one is where the rescued astronaut will go when we get there. Okay, let's see who we have on board. No, we do not want an engineer. We want a pilot. So let's get this Mech Jeb stuff out of the way, and then we'll pick. Valentina's good. I have Dudery. I don't know how to say that. And then Thomwin. These guys, I bought them. No, Thomwin I think I rescued, and then Dudery I bought. Dudery doesn't have a lot of intelligence. So anyway, it doesn't really matter because the Mech Jeb really takes care of the intelligence problem anyway, so it's not really an issue. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put let's go with Dudery. What the heck. Alright, now we go over to the launch, and while we're waiting for the computer to load, all we want to do is get up there and set a target when we get on the launch pad, and then we will take care of some other stuff, which is basically setting the stabilizing autopilot, which works because we have a pilot on board. Okay, so I'm gonna load the Mech Jeb stuff and bring up the extra windows for that. I like these 4 windows when I'm flying. And then this is a maneuver planner, which we don't really need until we're kind of ready to get into orbit. Alright, so who we're going to rescue? We push M, and we come up here, and we say, oh, let's see, this one is my ship right here, K7RV. This one is Glyn's craft, or Jalene's craft. It's actually Gilney's craft. And then this one is Hada's pod. So why don't we go with Hada's pod so that we can show you how this works. So once you set the target there, we'll go right back to the launch pad. Okay, and now what we do here is we already have everything set up for stage, and I'm not going through building the rockets for you. That's not what this is about. Okay, so anyway, there's 5 rocket boosters on the first stage, then we let those go, and then we fire up the next 4 rocket boosters, which are around the final engine, which is in the middle. Okay, the final engine is the one that we're going to use for the docking maneuver, and well, we're not actually docking, we're rendezvousing. So, but anyway, this is in fact part of a contract, and you can see that by looking over here and go, let's conduct temperatures, rescue Jilney, rescue Haiti, or Haida, and that's what we're doing. Save Haida, Kerman, recover Haida, Kerman on Kerman, on Kerbin, Kerman on Kerbin, yeah. Now we're not going to pull the science contract at the same time. We'll just go ahead and launch this one. And then, well, you also notice we don't have a lot of monopropellant and we don't have a lot of electric charge. The engines will generate all we need for this particular mission, so it's going to be okay. I know because I've already rescued a couple of them. Now we set the autopilot on. That's the SAS over here. It's really a stabilization assist system. And then we set the throttle, which you can see right here. We set it to 100%, although for the first 2 stages we really don't use the throttle because they're rocket boosters and you don't get a chance to really control their thrust. If you want to set them lower, you can do that when you're building the ship, but I just left these at 100. Launch. Okay, so at about 50 meters per second, what we'll do is we will rotate the ship 90 degrees so that the cockpit can actually pull up and head south. So we're going to do our rotation maneuver now. And I really only do this because it's easier to kind of manage things later on when you're flying. So you know up is S and down is W. Now, that was a pretty smooth maneuver, okay? You see how that came real close. Now I only got to back up a little bit. So we're doing about 100 meters per second. That's perfect. So now we want to start our bank into the easterly direction. And for this ship, we just basically hold S down, let it pitch over. It's not going to pitch much. And then we drop this stage. And then we fire up the next stage. And right when we fire that up, we want to be holding the S key. Okay. This is actually our main lifting stage right here. And as you can see, she gets a little squirrely. The ship likes to bank or rotate left and right. We really don't want that. We want it to kind of stay on the 90-degree plane because these early rescue missions are going to be right on the equator line, and you don't want to have to move too much stuff to go to get those guys. And I'll explain that when we get there. But right now we're doing okay. We're at 14. What you want to look at is this apoapsis indicator right here. And you're looking to see when that breaks 70. Okay? This particular ship does a pretty good job. I think the solid rocket boosters will get us all the way up into the beginning of an orbit, but then we have to stabilize the orbit using the final engine. And we're also going to need to make sure we have enough gas to actually do the mission. So we don't want to go too high. That's always a problem because with the rocket boosters, the solid rocket boosters aren't controllable, so you really don't know, how far up you're going to go. So what I like to do is I like to bank over a little bit more. I like to get this one over to about 45 degrees without too much roll. And we're at 83 kilometers, 90. That's okay so far. We want to bank this over, bank it over. Okay, we lost the boosters. We're at 114 kilometers. Now, you can use the boosters on the ship to slow you down. See, we're dropping 112, 111. Okay, or you can say, okay, I'm done with those guys. I don't need those anymore. Let's get rid of them. All right, so we separated the boosters from our ship. Okay, we're only at 36 kilometers, but our apoapsis is at 110, so that's good. That's kind of what we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and put the nose on the horizon. That crunching sound you hear in the background, if you do, is my dog. She's scratching some cardboard. I don't know why. I think she likes that. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the maneuver planer and we're going to pick circularize. and then we say create and execute node. And that says we're going to need 1,357 meters per second of delta V. This indicator right here is how much gas we got left. Now, we haven't engaged the engine, so we'll have to do that too. Then you can see that over here the fuel thing indicated that it's full, and it also that indicates that the engine is actually active. If you shut it down, the gas tank indicator will go away. Okay, so right now, mechanical Jeb is taken over. So this ship has a little bit more advanced of a navigational computer because MechJeb's on board. And Dude doesn't really have to do too much. He just has to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Okay, so as the time warp gets down to 1, you'll see that node in T 32 seconds. The burn is about a minute. It says it's an hour and 1 minute, but that's not true. You can't calculate that until it actually gets some boost from the engine to see how it went down to 1 minute and 3 seconds. So it recalculates based on the thrust ratio of the engine so that it can actually recalculate how much burn is necessary as far as time goes, but the same amount of delta V is required. It doesn't recalculate that. So we're going to end up with somewhere around 300 or 400 meters per second of fuel, and I'm hoping that that will allow us to do the maneuvers we have to do. Okay, so to rendezvous with a ship or any other object, you have to do 3 things, and you don't necessarily have to do them in this order, but this is the easy way and the most successful. It's not the most fuel efficient. There's another way that you can intercept something and it's more fuel efficient, but it is riskier. So these maneuvers that we're going to do aren't that risky. I mean, really don't want to lose Dudry and Haida, so you know we're really hoping that everything works out for them. Okay, so up here also you can see that you have liquid fuel and oxidizer left. You can see that the monopropellant isn't being used. The ablator is actually the heat shield, and it is actually located where you see it highlight on the ship there. Okay, we're going into orbit. We're into orbit at 100 and 102, 100 and 105, 110, 106. This is a pretty good orbit. Our eccentricity is only 0.003. Okay, we could probably cut this now. Okay, so it stopped. That's fine. Sometimes I hit the termination switch before mechanical Jeb because I like the numbers better than what it's doing. Okay, so for what we're doing here today, we are rendezvousing with Haida's ship. I'll show you that one again. That's going to be not that one. Okay, that's our airplane we have on the ground near the hangar. That's Haida's pod right there. So Haida is a little behind us. We are ahead of her or him. And that actually works out pretty good because things that are behind you need to be lower than you so they can catch up. Okay? Now, the first thing we need to do is match our plane, which is the actual orbit line from the poles to where you're orbiting around the planet. And we need to match this alignment with Haida's vessel. So what we're going to do, you can see, you can't really see it too well, but that's Haida's pod right there. It reads out right there. She's going 2266.7 and we are going 2232.2. So she's going to take a little while to catch up to us, but first thing we want to do is match planes. So by the way, I've done all this manually, so you know, just trust me that I can tell you mechanical Jeb makes this a lot easier. So we're going to match planes with target. That's what we picked here. And then we're going to create a node. If you come down here, you can see it's only 17.4 meters per second of gas. And it's going to happen the next time around the planet. That's too far. So let's remove that one and say we want to do it on the descending node, which is on the other side of the planet, right over here. And the reason we do that is because it's quicker. The ascending node is behind us, so it takes another. Let me put that other MechJeb window back up. it's got our orbiting info, which tells us our time for orbit, which is 33 minutes and 18 seconds. So what we want to do is, cut that in half by doing the maneuver in 14 minutes and 33 seconds, and then we'll be good. So we're going to go ahead and execute this, and we can execute it here. And what you'll see down here on the ball is a bunch of little indicators that mean different things. But it'll line up with a blue one. So the ship is actually moving to be in the correct orientation before it hits the point at which it actually has to execute the maneuver. And that's going to be straight up in this case, which is called normal. Oddly, pointing straight down is called anti-normal. You'd think they'd come up with something more imaginative than that, but they don't. Okay, so now it's going to warp for us all the way around the planet to the maneuver node, which is this thing. And I know a lot of you guys already know what these things are and how to do this, but this is kind of more for newbies who started out in the career and want to know, how do I actually rendezvous with something? And if you try to do that one in the tutorial, it actually is very good, but it's really hard to get that 5 kilometers when you're pushing the maneuver. But you can do it. Just be patient. Try again if it doesn't work. And then if you mess up near the ship where you're going, the biggest hint that I found was make sure that your ship is got the target orientation here instead of orbit. You can click this and say surface or orbit or target. And when you have target and you're close to the target, you can actually tell the autopilot that you want to be in retrograde to the target, and then tell it to basically match your velocities so that you're not moving with respect to the other object. And then you can try again to get close to dock. But once you figure that out, it's really not that tough. It took me about a week to finally figure all that out, but I got it. Okay, it was 3 days, but still. Alright, so now that we've matched planes, you can look over here on the edge, and you'll see this blue line, which is our orbit, matches precisely with the green line, which is Haida's orbit. So what we're going to do now is we do a Hoffman transfer to the target, and that also is a inside mechanical jeb, which is nice. And we say create the node. It's going to do that in 1 hour and 37 minutes and 24 seconds. So just so that we're all clear on that, that's going to be 1, 2, 3 orbits around the planet before it does that, but it's only going to burn 20.2 meters per second. So that's not really that long, considering that, you're in space. So let's let it rip, see what happens. Okay, so this is kind of the boring part where you get to watch it just kind of do this. So right now you'll see also down here that this little blue, I don't know, it's kind of like a semi-Mercedes symbol. The blue part, not the pink part. The pink part's not relevant to what we're doing right now. This blue one is actually the orientation for the maneuver that you're trying to pull off. The pink one is actually the indication of where your target is relative to you. And Haida is directly behind us, but she's 687,000 meters behind us, so we can't see her. Or him. I can never remember if Haida is a boy or a girl. So, anywho, there it is, and it's orbiting, and it can't go that fast because we're not that high, so it can only go like, what is that, 5, 10, 50? I think it's going 50 times the speed or something. I don't remember. But anyway, what it looks like down here is that we're just zipping around the planet. Whee! Now, if you look over here, you can see that Dudry is, I'd like to just call him Dudley Do-Right because it'd be easier. So we'll just call him Dudley. He's having a great time. So now we're flying over the water, and we're still doing a pretty good job here. It's okay. We still got a long way to go. I didn't know that would be such a problem, but I'm glad that we are doing it this way, because I can cut this out of the video later if I don't like it, and that'll be fine. So back to the orbital view. That's the North Pole right there that you see, that white stuff. And you know, there's a lot of mods for Kerbal Space Program. I haven't really explored all of those yet. I'm probably not going to explore all of them, but I would like to do a few of them. I think I'd like to do the real solar system of Earth, just to kind of see what things are like when you try to really do stuff. One of the other cool things about Kerbal Space Program is that the parts that we're using are based on Earth parts. They are, you know, some of them created out of thin air, but most of them are actually based on real pieces of equipment. They may not be exact, but they're close. And they kind of give you the feel for, you know, what it was like to build a Apollo 16 or Apollo 13 rocket or whatever Apollo number you're into. So anyway, our little ship is basically a twin capsule job, stacked. When you get into the ones that are radially expanded, so that you got like multiple columns or multiple tubes around the main tube, gets a little bit different. That's pretty much the main design for my ship, because when I first start the game, you can't build a rocket that's over so many meters high, but you can build it out wide. So I kind of use the solid rocket boosters for my main stages, and you know, sometimes I'll use gas engines. This particular ship is very quick. It's supposed to get up into space, do its job, get the astronaut it's rescuing on board, and get the heck home. That's all it's supposed to do, so that's all it's designed for. And also, if you look now, we're actually starting to get a little bit critical on electric power. Yeah, there it is. Electric power. But we're 16 minutes out, so we should still be okay. You can see that's Haida right there. She's coming up, or he is coming up behind us, and when we do our burn, which is going to happen right here, the intersection for that burn is actually going to happen on the other side of the planet. Now, once you do the burn, what happens is that the two orbits will converge at the point over on the other side of the planet where you see these two little pink markers. Well, there's actually an orange one in there too, but you can't see it because it's overlaying. It's being overlaid by the pink one. But anyway, we're getting ready to do the burn. We'll do the burn. You don't really need to watch the ship burn. You can if you want to, but you can see that Haida is right there. She's 55 kilometers away, so we probably can't see her. Turn around and take a look. She is right there. That's the green dot. That's Haida. That's our target. We're locked on. And you can also see that we're 170 meters with respect to the target. This burn is not for that. This burn is to converge the orbits so the two ships get close as possible. And like I said, that'll happen on the other side of the planet. When that's all done, and it is, burn's done. Now there's one final maneuver that we do to rendezvous with Haida's ship, and that is a match velocities with target, because believe it or not, we're still moving with respect to the target. We're going 166 meters per second faster than she is, or 165.4. We're actually slowing down, which is good. So what we want to do is when this orbit reaches over here and we're real close, we basically want to brake to a stop with respect to the other ship. Okay, that's really not that hard to do manually, but I'm going to do it with MechJeb, because that's kind of what we're doing tonight. So we're going to create the node. Now you can use create and execute. I'm just doing create node so I can kind of show you what's going on. This is 18.5 meters per second, and as you can see, I'm still got plenty of delta V, so plenty of fuel. Okay, so now we're going to execute this node. This node's going to happen in 16 minutes. And that is just about half of an orbital period, and that is right about on the other side of the planet, which matches up with just about the intersection points of where we want to be. Because once we slow down, these two things will converge over here. They'll actually move. So, we're doing pretty good. This mission is going really well. It's only taken 25 minutes so far. And it was a decision I made to go from start to finish so that somebody could see how this whole thing works without any, cut up pieces. That's probably going to make it longer than it needs to be, but the good news is that you can fast forward through the video if you've already seen a part, or you already know what's going to happen, or you've already kind of seen it. But if you're new and you haven't seen it to completion, it might behoove you to just watch the whole thing. I don't normally make game videos. I usually make things like reviews of or how to set up a saw, or working on aluminum and things like that, and I'll still be making some of those, or some woodwork and stuff. I mean, I really like that. But I found that Windows 10 has a recorder, and I can record my voice and the video all at the same time. So I decided to kind of play around with that and see how that goes. What I'd really like to be able to do is overlay my voice on top of the video, and I think I have figured out a way to do that, but I'm not sure. So anyway, I'm going to work on that. Not today. Someday maybe, but not today. Okay, so now we're going to go to the other view, because there's Hada's pod. Here's our ship. Okay. And we are going to slow down. See, 18.5 meters per second is the relative velocity to Hada's pod. That's how much delta V we need to stop. And one, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Now you'll notice it didn't get exactly to 0, but it's 0.1 meters per second. That's fine. Okay, so now, not in a hurry. We're not in a hurry or anything, but we're going to push F5 just in case something bad happens. Now we use the bracket key to go over to Hada's pod. Now, once we're over at Hada's pod, we'll see Hada is in fact a girl, so saying she was just fine. Alright. Hada is in a very nasty looking capsule, kind of like the one she's going to be in and when she gets over to our ship, the K7RV. So, we're going to do an extra, what is that called? EVA, extra vehicle activity, or external vehicle activity. I can't remember what they called it at NASA. Excursion, whatever. Okay, so we hit the space bar to let go. We set up our little booster pack, turn ourselves around. Whee! We can actually rotate around if we want to, but we don't need to do that. So now we're going to take her and go 312 meters over to the RV. We're going to go up a little bit because we're obviously up. You can tell if you're coming on target because you can see that the RV is moving towards us from the left to the right, and it's also going down, so it's actually kind of going in this diagonal. So what we want to do is stop our downward momentum, our upward momentum, stop the RV's downward momentum, and then stop the RV's momentum the other way. So we go like this, and now we're on target. We're real close. Down a little more. And you can see the little outline. You can't really see the ship, but there it is. And what you'll see is that we're coming up to it, and it'll actually be just fine. Like I said, I've done this before. It's not really that tough once you do it a couple of times. And yes, I've killed Kerbals, and yes, I've lost them, and all that stuff. So, we all do that. That's okay. If you'd want to lose them, though, try and lose the orange ones first, because if you have it set right, they'll be respawned and you'll get them back. Okay, here we go. Now we're coming up. We're coming up pretty hot. That means going too fast. So now I'm going to turn her this way. We're going to go this way, And then we're going to start slowing down sideways and slowing down towards the ship. Okay, so there we go. Now you can see that we're almost dead stopped. Okay, going this way, we got to get into this capsule right here. So we'll go this way a little bit. Stop that way, and she's probably not going to have a B come up, but B is the one we're looking for, so she can board the ship. And sometimes that's not as easy as it sounds. So now she's over the capsule, we move forward, we stop, and then we go down. And now it says B, so we can board. Okay, so now we're on board. We've actually rescued her. If you look at the contracts, it says that she is now part of my space program, and I have rescued her. But that's only half the mission, really. The other half is to get her ass home. So we turn on our little autopilot, our stability assist system, which is also kind of a nav system. It's not exactly. There's a whole bunch of real complicated pieces for the navigation system, but that's a different story. We're not going to cover that today. Okay, so now we turn our ass in towards retrograde so that we are going to be able to fire our engine. I don't need to do this really because I'm going to use MechJeb, so it's really alright. See, there's not that much electric left. We don't have that much gas. But what we're going to do, and if you come in too steep of an angle, you can burn the ship up even with a heat shield, doesn't really matter. So what you want to do is you want to kind of come in at a nice slow arc. I like using 45 kilometers because it just makes things really smooth. Okay, so we're going to use 33.3 meters per second of the delta V we have left, which is 276, and execute. Da, 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 da. Music's kind of hokey, but you know, if I started playing some Disturbed, then you guys would probably be freaking out. So we don't want to do that. I don't understand that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I like to rotate the ship so that its orientation is more heads up. My mouse went out again. It does that about once a night. I don't know why. It seems to be a particular problem with these mice. They're good mice. They just have this battery spring problem. And it could be that it's the other side. I don't know. But anyway, they're Logitech mice. They're lasers, of course, and they're pretty decent. See, there's some mouse moving again, so that's good. Okay, so this is going to burn in 8 minutes. Hada's pod, we don't really care about Hada's pod. We're not that far along in the tech tree where we have the grappling hook where we could have just grabbed it and brought it back and got a little extra cash for it, but it's not really worth the effort. The cash isn't that much of a problem for me because I can do several contracts all at the same time, and you know. So I actually have the contracting facility upgraded to max, but I only get 14 contracts. That's kind of annoying. I wish that it could have more. When I first started, I thought 14 was overwhelming, but now I think that it's a little bit light. The only thing is when it starts asking me to do explorations of Duna, I have actually never been to another planet. Yes, I've been to both moons around Kerbal, and I've been to Kerbal, and I had about 45 missions going on in one game, but set to go to all the other objects in the solar system. The only problem was that my son got a virus and we had to wipe that game out in order to save the computer. It wasn't due to the game, it was just that was one of the casualties of the fixing of the virus. So, you know, virus people should, well, I got an opinion about them, I probably ought to keep it to myself. So, anyway. So there it is. It is now going to enter it is in a descending orbit. It's going to hit 45 kilometers height. Altitude is the lowest spot. And then what will happen is that it will start to slow down. So what we're going to do in order to make that happen faster for us is first we're going to put the stability assist on, and we're going to put it into retrograde position. And we'll see that it turned all the way around. Oh crap, we need to put it in orbit, not the target. So yeah, that's something that's happened to me before, where I have had the indicator up at target here instead of orbit, and I've hit the gas, and it was with respect to the object I was trying to rendezvous with instead of the planet, but I wanted to be with the planet. And I can tell you that one little Kerbal day just got ruined. I mean, that just ruins her whole day. I think that Kerbal ended up dying. But anyway, okay, so now we're gonna warp over to the other side of the planet, and the altitude will get down below 70, and that's when the warp will stop. So we don't have to worry about all that stuff. Yeah, and don't worry about this, the ship will realign itself. And then what we're gonna do so that we can actually slow down a little bit better is we're going to use this remaining 243 meters per second of gas, and we're going to slow down even more so that we can get down to the ground. I want to double check the parachute safety releases. 2,750. Okay, so this one probably needs to go back to a 0.6. Now what this does is for each parachute there's a atmospheric pressure lock and an altitude lock. So the chute won't deploy unless one or both of these conditions are met. So like the minimum pressure has to be 0.6, and the minimum altitude has to be 2,000 or lower for it to open. Okay, so now that we're in the descent of the orbit, we're gonna warp a little more. You can't warp that fast when you're below 70 kilometers, but you can still do a pretty good job. Now all this, okay, we just lost all of our gas, all of our electricity. Okay, so what we can do to get some is we can actually fire it up, the rocket, and that'll bring us back online with what we're supposed to have as far as the rear of the ship goes. So we're oriented rearward, retrograde, which is good. And now we're out of gas. We only have a few seconds of electric left. We don't have any more electric, so let's jettison that wasted piece of carcass that we don't need anymore. And even our mech jeb is empty. See, no more electricity for it either. Sometimes I'll lock the electricity in the mech jeb so that if everybody else runs out, I still got 5 volts of power left to run things, and it might save you. And it actually has saved me before. So anyway, now we're just kind of floating in the wind, and we're hitting the atmosphere a little bit, and we'll go a little faster so we can see how that's going. I really can't do anything anymore. The SAS is on, but it's not active because there's no power, so we may as well turn that off too. Okay, so at 52,000 meters, we'll start seeing some red, and you'll barely hear some. There it is. Okay, so that's actually re-entry. And if you look over here at the shield, we're doing fine. We're actually coming in kind of slow, which is good. Slower is better. If you got too steep of an angle here, it'll come in crashing down, and you won't even have enough time to slow down with the atmosphere braking before it actually just rips apart or burns up or doesn't open the chutes, or opens the chutes and you're going too fast, and all kinds of bad shit that can happen. So, you know, you really do have to be careful about how steep of an angle you re-enter when you don't have any other options other than parachutes. So that's what we're doing. You can notice that the speed is going down. The heat shield's nice and bright red, and it's actually melting away like it's supposed to be doing. Yeah, heat shields don't actually provide shields of heat. What they do in order to dissipate the heat is they literally melt the metal, and the shield dissipates, and that dissipation is how it releases the heat in little balls of molten melted metal. And that's part of the light you see going around the ship like that red. Most of it's just atmosphere and friction and stuff like that, but there is some metal in there. You can see we've already burnt 4, whatever that is, units of heat shield, now 5. And we're coming in at a real nice angle, and we're coming in just beautifully, so I'm going to go ahead and arm the parachutes. And soon, this mission will be over. And it looks like we'll be landing in the ocean, which is perfect, because that's usually the safest place to land. If you're going to land somewhere on the planet, land in the ocean. It's nice, softer, but you can still break things if you're going too fast. Pay attention to the impact speed of a part. Like, for instance, the landing can only take like 6 meters per second, so if you hit going faster than that, it'll explode. Each part has a different impact speed tolerance, they call it, so just be careful with that and you'll be fine. Make sure you're going slower than that when you hit the ground, that's all. Landing gear is another one where you may hit the ground too hard and break your landing gear, especially with manual landings. I don't mean the stationary, I meant the stationary gear, not the wheels, because wheels are for airplanes and various other things too, but you don't usually land on the moon with wheels, although I've come to believe there's reasons why you might want to. Alright, we're going to speed this up because we don't need to see 4,000 feet of falling. Okay, get to about, oh, there's one. Main chute came out, but it's not actually deployed yet. Now, 2,000 it'll deploy. And there's the other 2 chutes. And there's actually 4 chutes. There's 5 chutes total. There's one there, the big one, and these little guys. And they kind of opened kind of high. I mean, really. It's a bit steep. But we're doing 9-10 meters per second because just the big chute is the one that's going. We could actually detach that, cut the thread, and go a little lower, and then at 750 the rest of those would open. So let's go ahead and do that. Cutting the parachute, cut the main chute, we're speeding up. See, that's good. Then we get down faster. But at 750 feet, we will open the chutes completely and slow back down because we want a nice gentle landing. And you do need some time between when they open and when they slow down so the impact doesn't hurt. Parts don't explode is what I was trying to say. Okay, so we're at 500 feet. You can also see over here, here's your altitude above sea level, and here's your true altitude. And if you're over the mountains, these will be different. The ASL will always be the one above sea level, and the other one will be above the ground. That's kind of how you look at that. Dun, 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 dun. Now, at about 50 feet or so, I'm going to just go back to normal time so that you can enjoy the splashdown, and all the little Kerbals will applaud and say, woohoo, yay! See, right now they're kind of like, what's going on? Hey! And we have splashdown, and they're back on the planet. Woohoo. So, a mission was a complete success. We are going back to recover the vessel, and get back to the interface here. You'd think it wouldn't be that bad, right? Okay. See, like I said, money's not a problem. 1.58 million. So there was no science earned on that. That's normal because I didn't have any scientific stuff going. Here we got all the parts that we return. And here's the two dudes. I'm sorry. Here's the one dude, and now Haida, who happens to also be... What is Haida? Haida is available for the next mission. Okay, so I don't know what kind of Kerbal she is, but anyway, she's available for the next mission. So let's go see what we got as far as missions go. Okay, she has now been recovered in one piece and is now enjoying a thorough debriefing from the comfort of her quarantine cell. Haida Kerman is now part of your crew roster and may be assigned to future missions. We got 60,137 Kirks, Kerbins, Kerbits, whatever, and 9 points of reputation. And that pretty much sums up a rescue mission from start to finish. And I'd like y'all to enjoy yourselves. Sorry if the video seemed a little long or whatever. Remember, you can fast forward through whatever parts you like, so it's not really that much of a problem. Thanks and bye.